Alright, this video here we're going to look at the washer method, and we're gonna have a graph or something, and we're going to revolve that region about an axis. So the washer method says the volume is equal to pi times the integral from a to b of big R of x squared minus little r of x squared. Okay, so the big R, that's the outer radius, and the little r is the inner radius, and the radius is taken from the line that you're going to revolve it around. It's measured from that line. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at an example. Alright, so here in this first example it says find the volume of the solid form by revolving the region bounded by the graph of f of x equals the square root of sine x and the x-axis from 0 to pi about the x-axis. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is draw a picture. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph sine x. Alright, so we're at graph square root of sine x, and we're going from 0 to pi. There's a midpoint, pi over 2. Alright, so we know when we plug the 0 in, sine is 0 and square root of 0 is 0. If we plug in pi over 2, well, the sine of pi over 2 is 1 and square root of 1 is 1. And then when we plug in pi, sine is 0 and square root of 0 is 0. Okay, so we know our graph's going to look something like that. Okay, now the thing here is let's draw our rectangle. Okay, so we're using the washer method, so when we draw a rectangle it's going to be perpendicular to the axis that we're revolving it around. See, we're revolving it around the x-axis. Okay, and there's your rectangle, and the thickness of the rectangle is delta x, or so that tells us that we're going to integrate with respect to x. Alright, so now remember to set up our integral. It's the outer radius squared minus the inner radius squared. Okay, and that integral is multiplied by pi. Alright, so let's set up our integral. Well, we know that big R of x, okay, that's this distance here. Okay, this is our big R of x. So the distance from here to here is what? That is square root of sine x. And little r of x is equal to what? Well, you see how the inner radius, that's on the axis. So little r of x, that would just be 0. Okay, so now we have big R of x squared minus little r of x squared. That's equal to square root of sine x squared minus 0 squared. Alright, so now our volume is pi times, and let's just write the formula down. R of x squared minus little r of x squared, and we're integrating with respect to x. See, there's the thickness of our rectangle. Alright, so let's see what we have. We have the volume is pi, and we're going from a to b, so we're going from 0 to pi. Okay, and what's r of x squared minus little r of x squared? Well, that is this part right here. Okay, so that's square root of sine x squared minus 0 squared dx. Okay, so that's going to give us pi, and we're going from 0 to pi, and then when we square this and the square of the 0, that's just going to give us sine x dx. Okay, and so if we integrate, that's going to be pi times, and then when we integrate sine x, that's negative cosine x, and we're going from 0 to pi. Alright, so now we have pi times, that's negative cosine pi minus negative cosine 0. And that's going to give us pi times, and then there's our negative sign, and then the cosine of pi is negative 1 minus, and then here's our minus sign, and then cosine of 0 is just 1. And so this is going to give us pi times, and that's going to just be 1 plus 1, which is going to give us 2 pi. And there's our volume. So just remember, all you have to do is it's the outer radius minus the inner radius, or the upper radius minus the lower radius. Okay, and if the rectangle that you draw is on the axis right here, then you know little r is 0. Okay. Alright, so I hope this video helped. I'm going to do some more videos, so I hope you'll check those out. I'm going to do probably a total of 4 videos on the disc method, and I'm just going to do one problem per video. So hope you'll check those out. Alright, thanks.